Hello, my beautiful friends, and welcome to the Global Heart Stream Meditation. I'm your host, Gabriel Gonsalves, broadcasting live on this beautiful and hot Wednesday, the 31st of July. Can you believe that we're already on the last day of the month, moving already into August? How are you? How's your summer going? Hello, if you could just share a few words about how you are, just check on it, like do a bit of a virtual check in the comment section today. Today's topic is activating your heart's code, the key to thriving in today's world. And it's a topic that is very dear to my heart because it pretty much describes my interest in this topic of applied heart intelligence or heart centered living from the very beginning after I moved to South Africa and began to take a deep dive on this science of the heart and became a heart math coach. At around that time, I came across the amazing book by Dr. Paul Persall. I don't know if you guys have read that book. It's called The Heart's Code. And it was the very first time that I heard not just about the physical heart being a pump and all of that, but Dr. Persall goes in there to talk about heart coherence, the electromagnetic field of the heart math research. And then he dives also into a topic that I'm very interested in. And I'm sure some of you guys are probably also interested in it, which is what happens to people who have received heart transplant. Okay, all the research that has been done around um, people who are recipients of somebody else's heart and how they begin to adopt some of the same taste and preferences and in and some of the even character traits of the donor of the heart. Now, while I was in South Africa, this really interested me because right there in South Africa is where the very first human heart transplant took place at a central hospital called Groote. I think I'm pronouncing this right. Mariette is here online, so maybe she can correct me. It was performed by Dr. Christian Barnard. Now, I had the opportunity once to meet his brother when he was still alive, my first few years in South Africa. And I remember him speaking about his brother's big dilemma when it came to doing a human heart transplant, because deep down, Dr. Christian Barnard felt that he had a moral and a spiritual sense of accountability. He had a dilemma actually going on because he deep down he believed that within our heart we hold these core values and feelings and connection with divinity. And so he would be up many nights, like wrestling and praying to God. My God, is this an ethical thing to do? I mean, think about right now all the dilemma that's going on the internet about cloning. But think back to 1967 when the first heart transplant took place. All right, this man was actually wrestling and praying to God and saying, "My God, it says, do you want me to do this? You speak so much in scriptures about giving people a new heart, about how within the heart the key to living your life is found. Like, what would happen if I transfer one person's heart and put it into another. I think it was probably wondering, will I go to hell for doing that? Well, obviously, we don't know that. But what we do know is that many lives have been saved. And what we also do know is that some really interesting research has continued to come up and being done through the years with regards to what happens to the recipients of the heart. So I highly recommend that anybody who really wants to study this spiritual aspect, emotional, energetic, or bioenergetic aspects of the heart, that you read that book. Okay. I consider it a foundational book, a primer book for people who are interested in what it means to live from the heart. Now, last week we spoke about the three layers of the heart. And as a quick review, we spoke about how we all have this external layer that I call the superficial heart, or the feeling of your thinking, right? But that's not your heart. That is the part of you that is basically made out of all of these emotional programs and many mental programs. Okay. But most people refer to this as the heart. This isn't your heart. The second layer is what Dr. Harvey Nielsen calls the heart wall, with a layer of repressed, suppressed, stuck emotional energy. In other words, emotions that you never gave yourself permission to feel. And that is protecting the true heart, this core of unconditional love, purity, innocence that represents your divine essence. This is where the presence of divinity lives within you. Okay. And this is what I believe deep down Dr. Christian Barnard knew, and obviously Paul Purcell discovered, okay, through his own research. Now, when I first started studying everything I could get my hands on around the heart, I came across the teachings of Dr. Singasha, sorry. Okay, he's a Taoist teacher from China, who basically began on the path of learning Qigong and ancient Tao spiritual teachings. And then he wrote extensively about how to use these principles to bring about healings. And in one of the first books I read by him, he speaks about what the ancient Chinese philosophers and teachers taught about the heart. And this is what they said. They believed back then, and we're talking about 5,000 years ago, they believed that within the heart, there was a temple. And it wasn't just within the heart, the actual physical heart. It was this entire area around the heart, what we would normally call the heart chakra. So he taught that right there in this area, there was a temple. And so they refer to this temple in Chinese as the Ling Gong, which literally means in Chinese, the soul's temple. So they believe the same thing that Aristotle believed. Aristotle believed in a cardiocentric model of the human anatomy, where the intelligence was not in the brain, but it was actually in the heart. It's the opposite of Plato, that taught more a brain-centric or cephalic center centric approach to human anatomy. But back to the ancient Chinese teachings. And so they believed that within the lingam, right, within the soul's temple, lived a tiny soul. All right. And this soul came from the heavens at the moment of conception. Right. The moment when the human heart began to beat, and then life left the heavens, or they call them the Akashic records in some traditions. At that moment, that little soul would leave the heavens and it would come to live there in the Lingong, in the soul's temple. And the name that they gave this soul was the Tianming. The Tianming, the words in Chinese means heaven's orders. Okay, heaven's order. So, what does this mean? You're probably wondering, Gabriel, why are you telling me all this story? Well, because the ancient Chinese, 5,000 years ago, had this incredible belief, which I also hold, and many of us here hold, that within our hearts, there is this infinite loving intelligence. It's a power that can be harnessed. It's an intelligence that guides our lives, that powers, it generates the largest electromagnetic field, and it contains within a tremendous amount of intelligence because it's the part of divinity that lives within us, that animates us. And not only that they believe that, but that they also believe that it contains within your higher purpose, the bigger reason that we're here. And these are the heart codes or the codes within the heart that I, week after week, help you connect with, activate, energize, and ultimately start living from. Now, to finalize this teaching from the ancient Taoist, one of the more advanced teaching with regards to the lingongs or heaven's orders, right? This little soul within the heart, is that if you lived in alignment with it, if you listen to it, if you attune to it, if you align with it, and if you acted in accordance to the wisdom that came from it, then your life will thrive. You will have health. You will feel strong. You will not get disease. You would live longer and you would be very happy. But if you go against it, if you deny it, if you block it, if you numb yourself, if you run away from it, then the opposite would happen. You would suffer. You would be very unhappy. And you would experience a lot of poverty. Now, isn't it interesting then that one of the ideas that we were discussing last week was that the wall, this idea of a heart wall or a layer of repress or suppress emotional energy that has been built, as I said last week, to protect this vulnerable core of the heart. All right. This aspect of ourselves that is pure, that is innocent, that represents our divine essence. Um, what happens the bigger that wall that you have around their heart, the less connected you are to that core, and the less the energy from the core that is really flowing through the rest of the body. In other words, the bigger your heart wall, the more disconnected you are from the intuition of your heart, from the love within your heart, from even the power of your heart. In other words, the energy that's emanating from your heart that is expanding in every direction cannot really fully expand to all of the organs. Okay. And then therefore that begins to create a lot of blockages and disease. And so the key to activating the heart is really, once again, focusing on that energetic core, that spiritual core that is also the core of your emotional system. And how do we do this? Well, it's a matter of learning how to be fully present in your body, present to not just your thoughts, but also to the physical sensations and to the feelings and the energy behind the feelings. So it's learning how to move in any way, in many ways, from what Tesh Steiner, one of my teachers, calls channel one, or the channel of the intellect, the mind, that thinks in terms of thoughts and ideas and concepts and information, into the channel of the experiential, the channel where the true intuition and feelings are. This is the non-linear. And so as you begin to become more present to that space within you, to your inner core, and begin to listen to it, you're going to notice that little by little, the mind begins to get quieter and you start to feel a sense of stillness and relaxation. Okay. As you move more and more and more into channel two. Now, something a lot of people don't know, and this I learned from Dr. David Hawkins and his research in consciousness using kinesiology. And it's that what we call the mind, it's 99.9% stillness and emptiness. And that 0.01% is just the noise. So imagine for a moment that if you were in a large hall, okay, that is just completely empty and quiet, but then you have like one of those little radios that is just playing like rap music. and you put that radio far away, and it's just playing out there. Imagine that out of all that emptiness of that space, that vast space, you go to that little speaker and you put it on your ear and you listen to it, and you're constantly attuned into it, and paying attention to the bad news or the scary things and the fears and all the thoughts and opinions and everything, many of which are not even your own, but instead disregard that 99.9% of the space where there's stillness. Well, this is a beautiful way of explaining what's happening in the mind. And so the moment we kind of embrace that there's always going to be a little radio switched on, just emitting its frequency of repetitive thinking, but instead we bring the attention to that other 99% of the space where there's stillness, where there's silence. Guess what happens? What you focus on, you energize. And what you focus on, it expands. And so the more you focus on being still and present, the more you focus on coming back to your center. At that moment, you're also coming back to this core within you. And then in that core, you can begin to slowly commune with what the Chinese called the Tianmin, or heaven's orders. And today I want to call these your heart codes. Why are they codes? Well, because they are unique to you. Within your heart, there is a set of values that you actually brought into this life from previous lifetimes, values that you have been developing through previous incarnations. You're also bringing into your codes, you also have a particular way in which you love and enjoy giving love and receiving love, and which is very particular and is very unique to you. Within these hard codes also, there is a treasure, or a, call it a secret. It contains your life purpose, the bigger reason why you're here. And within it also, as part of these hard codes, there is a deep sense of longing, something that allows you to kind of feel into like, I don't know what it is that I'm supposed to be doing with my life, but I know this isn't it. It's like deep down in my heart, there's this longing or desire to travel, to expand, um, to leave this place of stagnation and feel more alive and feel joyful and feel healthier and all of that. Well, these are the codes within you. All right. And again, you're within your core values, how you love, the bigger reason why you're here, this deep longing and desires within the heart. These are the codes that you need to tune in, become present to, and start listening to them. And in many ways, decode them. Decode them. And how do you decode them? Well, it's a process that is very unique to you. And my favorite way of doing that is by coming into the heart, becoming still, paying attention to the heartbeat and the breath, beginning to breathe into the heart, energize the heart. So it's all about becoming present, kind of dropping from the overactive thinking mind where there's always a lot of noise, and dropping into the vast place of the heart, into the stillness of the heart, as Rumi would call it. And then inhabiting that space. And then as you breathe in and begin to feel a sense of appreciation, little by little, you're going to notice that you feel calmer, you feel at ease. And it's also something really wonderful begins to happen, and is that you begin to switch more into a feminine polarity, or a receptive way of being. Okay. This has nothing to do with sexuality. The feminine energy is just simply receptive. And within the human body, you can think of your intellect, your mind, as holding the masculine polarity, right? Whereas the heart represents the feminine polarity. In fact, this is what's happening right now at a global level. We are experiencing a global heart awakening. And so we're moving more and more into the divine feminine, or in essence, into the heart. And so this invites us then to not only commune with that space, but become receptive to it. And then being fully attuned and still in this space, then we can ask questions like, my heart, what are you longing for? My heart, what is missing from my life? My life, what is it that you're wanting to experience more of? My heart, please guide me. Show me how to heal myself. All right. Remember then again that what you're really attuning and connecting with is the love, wisdom, and power that through your soul flows directly from the infinite, loving, eternal heart of God. All right. And so this is what we're doing. And so as you give yourself permission to then to become receptive, new thoughts, new thinking, new ideas, new vision, new longings, desires begin to emerge. And so now you can begin to decode it. And one of my favorite ways of doing that, and we do this in a lot of my training programs, is by creating a vision declaration or a statement that expresses this deeper longings, values of the heart. Okay. So today, when we drop into the heart, I'm going to invite you to connect with these codes and take you through a process of self-inquiry where you can ask your heart for the wisdom to help you make better choices or to help you experience the love, the healing, the relationships, or whatever it is that you're longing for right now. As you do that and as you begin to follow the wisdom of your heart, trust me, new relationships will be coming your way. You'll be feeling stronger. And this work, by the way, has never been more important. The past couple of days, if you've been really attuned to the electromagnetic frequency or energy of the planet, some of you may have felt a little bit tired, worn down, or maybe even developed somewhat like flu like symptoms. Well, the past couple of days, solar activity has increased tremendously. Okay. You can kind of see the escalation of many places in the world and what's happening. And in my case, I've been quite attuned with what's happening in my homeland of Venezuela. Okay, for the past 2 3 days, have also the aggression of the two polarities that are kind of fighting for power at this moment has increased. Okay, and many places in the world, the increase of negativity and anger and fear has really come up. And so, what do you do in times like these? Well, this is when you do heart work. This is when you drop more and more and more into the stillness of the heart. So, it's very important that you continue to energize your heart, continue to establish a deeper connection between your heart and the heart of divinity. Because by doing that, you are creating the conditions where your center is energized, and then you can embrace more and more and more of this new energy that is being radiated basically from the central solar system through our sun into our planet's magnetosphere and then therefore into our own hearts. Okay, so it is very important then, more than any other time, that you stay in your heart, that you practice self care, that you practice self compassion, that you walk barefoot out in nature, okay? That you spend time with people that you love, that you, as negativity and anger comes up, you give yourself permission to forgive it, to let it go, and to avoid being in that place of duality as much as possible. Okay. And one of the techniques that I often like to use when I do this is when I drop into my heart, I always ask my heart, please reveal to me the deeper truth about this situation. So you could, for example, say, my heart, could you please reveal to me the essence or the deeper truth about what's really happening in Venezuela right now? Can you help me see the deeper truth or the bigger picture of why there's a conflict in Israel and etc., or why this thing happened in the UK, or what is the deeper, what is the deeper meaning or perspective of what's happening right now politically here or there, etc. Okay, or obviously you can ask about any other situation, but The idea is, again, that you receive an answer, not from your intellect, from your mind, which is always going to repeat or regurgitate what you've already read in a newspaper or learned in a school or so in the news. No, what you're going to do is you're going to receive information from a part of you that is always connected to God, to divinity, and therefore it's always at one with all. And then from that space, you're going to be able to tune in and see a bigger perspective. Okay. And so as a result of that, you'll have a deeper understanding. So by activating these hard codes within yourself, you're not only letting in more love, wisdom, power within the heart, but you're also shifting your perspective of what's happening out there in the world and begin to pay more and more and more attention to your own inner world and begin to own this idea, or I would even call it this fact, that the best way you can support this planetary shift or the shift that we're experiencing at a global level is by staying in your heart, by remaining in a place of self compassion, deep acceptance, and unconditional love. Because it is by who we're being that we transform the world. So, by being loving, by being kind to ourselves, to the people around us, you're making a bigger impact in the world. Just because from that way of being, particular energy is exuding out of your heart, and that is affecting the totality. All right. So for every person that moves into the heart, you are helping offset the negativity of about 750,000 people on this planet. So, the more of us that come together into the heart and unify our heart regularly, move into the energy, love, and appreciation, activate our own heart codes, step into a higher purpose, fully embrace and own the bigger reason why we're here, and become channels for this love, wisdom, and power that emanates directly from divinity, the more, or the more that we will thrive individually and will support the creation of a world where everybody is thriving. All right. So with this as an introduction, I want to invite you now to bring your awareness to the middle of your chest as we now move into a guided meditation to activate your heart codes, or the codes within the heart. Let us begin. As you gently close your eyes, give yourself a couple of moments just to check in and adjust your body posture and find a nice, comfortable position. The kind of position that is effortless or is sustained by minimum effort. So take a moment to just scan your body, and if there's tension in a particular area or unnecessary tightness, just let it go. Uncrossing your hands, uncrossing your feet so that you have an outer attitude of openness and receptivity that also mirrors your inner attitude of openness and receptivity. As you sit there, notice your breath. Notice also your heartbeat. Perhaps you want to bring a hand over to the heart just so that you can feel that heartbeat. As you feel into the heartbeat and notice the breath, ask yourself, how am I feeling right now, this moment? What are some of the thoughts that I've been having today? What are some of my biggest or deepest worries or concern? And what do those worries or concern feel like in my body? And just simply, as you ask these questions, observe what shows up. Now imagine that your head begins to melt like the wax of one of those wax museum figures. As it begins to just melt and dissolve, it melts down into the heart. It literally just begins to dissolve. And as it melts down like hot wax, it becomes one with the heart. Until you see and feel yourself headless, mindless. The center of your awareness now in the middle of the chest, as you now begin to direct your breath into the heart. Inhaling into the heart, nice and slow, nice and deep, and nice and evenly. We breathe in life slow, deep, and nice and evenly when we feel safe, when we are in the presence of somebody that we love. So think about somebody that you love. Imagine that they are with you. They're present with you. This could be the presence of a divine being as well. You can imagine that Jesus the Christ is with you in this room. Mother Mary, one of the archangels, one of the saints. You can imagine that the Buddha is meditating right next to you, or Krishna. And as you continue to breathe in and out of the heart, feel their loving presence. Feel their compassion. And feel gratitude also for knowing that you're not alone. That we live in a multi-dimensional universe. In my Father's house, there are so many mansions, Jesus taught. So in one of the mansions of the Father's house, there is a dimension in which this master, this divine being, this teacher is always with you. It's always holding you, carrying you, guiding you, showing you the way. Feel gratitude for their divine presence as you continue to breathe in and out of the heart. Now imagine that your heart and the heart of this divine being are connected and united through this invisible light or cord. Feel this connection. Know that it's true. And as you see, feel it, and imagine it, say to yourself, either silently or out loud, I live in the heart of God. The heart of God lives within me. I am one with the heart of God. I am one with the heart of Christ, or the Buddha, or the Mary, or the heart of the divine being that you're attuning and connecting with. And as you say this, feel and imagine that the light within your own heart begins to shine even brighter, like the light of a sun at noon on a warm day. This light, the light of divinity, unified now with your heart, it's beginning now to increase in scope and radiance and luminosity and intensity and power within you. And it begins to expand in all directions. It expands north, south, east, west, front and back, and even within. Expanding towards all your organs, enveloping every physical aspect of your being, infusing every cell within your body with the love, wisdom, and power that emanates directly from the source. Take a deep inhale. Feel the love. Once again, another deep inhale. Feel the wisdom expanding. One last inhale. Feel the power as you exhale out, and know that within your heart now, the presence of divinity is growing, is expanding, it's amplifying. Your willingness to choose it, to focus on it, to feel gratitude and appreciation, to see it, to feel it, to imagine, makes it so. Know that with every inhale into the heart, harmony is flowing now to every organ. The heartbeat is becoming harmonious and stabilized. Cells are healing. Cancers are being dissolved. Stagnation, trauma is being dissolved. Simply because that's what the love, the wisdom, and the power of God do. Love heals. Love conquers. Wisdom guides, reminds every cell of its natural ability to heal itself. Reminds the brain and every aspect of your being that it is capable of healing itself. The power of the source now being amplified, allowing the rivers of life force energy to flow through all the meridians, as the blood also increases through your circulatory system, veins and arteries, nourishing your body, calming your mind, bringing healing, bringing peace of mind, and a deep sense of knowing that something really wonderful is happening inside of you. That right here and right now, the God force is increasing within you, expanding within you. And that together here in this sacred space of the heart, we're also connected and united in one heart, one that is radiating its cosmic rays out to our friends, our families, and everyone that we love and care for, expanding even to every person within this planet. That a hard wave of love, wisdom, and power is now flowing out into a world that so needs it. And that as a result, pain and suffering is lifting. Compassion is flowing everywhere. Feel gratitude. See, feel, and imagine this heart wave flowing from you out to your world. As you continue to feel this expansion within your heart, take a moment to ask this divine intelligence within you. My beloved heart, my spiritual center that is my connection with God. What would you love to experience in this next stage of my life? What's missing? Can you please reveal to me in a way that I can understand? What's the bigger reason that I'm here? What am I being called to be, to do, to have, or to experience in this stage of my life? Can you please reveal to me my heart's treasure and codes in a way that I can understand it, embrace it, and live by it? And as you ask these questions, simply listen now. Become receptive to the codes within your heart. My heart, What must I do to live in greater alignment with my core values, the bigger reason that I am here, or with what I'm being asked to do? My heart, what is the next action or set of actions that I must take in the direction of my highest potential or God's vision for my life? Please speak to me in a way that is clear and that I can understand it. In the name of the Father, the Mother, the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. In the name of the divine love, wisdom, and power that emanates directly from the heart of God, I call for the full and complete activation of the heart codes within the hearts of every person who's here with us today. I call for the activation of the heart codes within Lita, Janet, Mariette, Irish, Leela, Micheline, Cindy, Maureen, Mary, Veronica, Barbara, and everyone else who's present with us today or watching this replay. May their heart codes be fully activated. May the love, wisdom, and power of God become fully present, active, and expanded. May each of them be fully reminded of their deepest heart's desires, values. May they all fully be reminded of the deeper reason they're here. And may the wisdom that emanates directly from the source guide them into the right next action steps that will help them move forward in the direction of their highest potential. May each of them become the best that they can be for the benefit of the world. In the name of Jesus the Christ, Gautama the Buddha, Sri Krishna Govinda, all the archangels of heaven, and the entire spirit of the Great White Brotherhood, I give thanks. Knowing with anticipation that it is done, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. Within your heart, there is a treasure containing your life purpose, the bigger reason why you're here. Within your heart, there's values, there's longings, there's desires. Within your heart, there's the connection with the heart of divinity, out of which love, wisdom, and power flow endlessly from the source. Within your heart, there are secret codes waiting to be discovered, to be embraced, and to be fully activated in your life. That your life may be a life of joy, abundance, prosperity, health, and wellness, and expansion. All of this according to the divine will of God. Sesta, lovely to see you here. I include you now in all these prayers, knowing that your presence here is important. All right, gently, you may now slowly come back to the full awareness of our time together, slowly opening your eyes and becoming once again open, available, and receptive to the space that surrounds you, feeling grounded, feeling stronger, feeling re-energized, feeling more connected, feeling activated as well. Remembering that you can always come back to this guided meditation and tune in into the love, wisdom, and power to reactivate your codes anytime that you want to. All right? It lives within you. And the key, as I was saying earlier, is to move away from that 0.1% part of the mind that is always busy thinking about problems and ideas and worrying about the future or trying to fix the past. Instead, become present in stillness to the rest and the vast space of the heart, where you can find creative solutions to problems, where you can find the love, the wisdom, and the power to transcend any condition, to heal yourself, and to also manifest your highest potential. And as Mary Rinaldi reminds us, don't forget to keep grounding yourself during these beautiful solar flares. So, what I recommend to you guys is that if you don't want to follow the solar activity and those websites that actually track Schumann's resonance or solar activity, every time that you see in the news something that says, oh, the aurora borealis is present again. Well, every time you see that, okay, that's the result of solar activity. It's happening because of the effect that the solar activity is having on the magnetosphere. Or every time that you're feeling that you can't sleep, that you're excessively tired or whatever, just bring that sense of connection with the heart and take care of yourself. Okay, it may not, more often than not, has nothing to do with what's actually happening in your life. It's really, think of it as it's a planetary event. We are affected by planetary weather. Hardly anybody talks about this, but we are. All right, so be mindful of that. Okay, the part of you that generates the largest electromagnetic field is always interacting with the electromagnetic field of the planet, which is always interacting with the electromagnetic field of the sun, which is also interacting with the actual electromagnetic field of the entire planetary system and galaxy. Okay, so everything is affecting everything. So think about it as the butterfly effect. Lila says, it was very powerful meditation. Thank you so much, Gab. God bless you. You're very welcome. Veronica, she says, it was amazing indeed. I needed this. Thank you. You're very welcome. Irish says, lots to think about now, Gabs. Yes, lots. Mariette says, I will have to recap this meditation. I need to find the bottom truth of all these powerful questions. Yeah. Janet says, cultivate an attitude of gratitude helps you stay in your heart space. Yeah. Gratitude is the key that opens the heart. Cindy says, beautiful and such a blessing of inner peace. Thank you, Gabs. You're very welcome. All right. What time is it? Oh my goodness. We're already 54 minutes into the hour. All right, my beautiful friends. Thank you for lending me your hearts and your ears. I sincerely hope you're walking away from our meditation, our little fire chat, feeling more grounded, more connected, more energized, and more calm and at ease. Remember, once again, within your heart, there are codes that were placed in there by divinity. All right, so take time every day to connect to your heart. Take time every day to nurture yourself, okay? To eat foods that are live, that are wholesome, that have very little processing. All right? The more you do that, the more you live in alignment and eat in alignment with the earth, and the more in alignment you will feel in all areas of your life. All right, my beautiful friends, thank you once again for hanging out with me today. I look forward to connecting again with you next week, the same time on the same channel. Until then, please take care of yourself so that you can take care of others. And as always, I send you all of my love from my heart to yours. Bye bye for now.